Marvelous greetings and welcome back everyone to our Marvel Plus live reaction of Miss Marvel, titled
The Marvelous Ms. Khan.
Let's do the time warp again.
Time after time.
If I could turn back time.
If I could save time in a bottle.
Yes, this is another time for backstory. Last time on Miss Marvel, we went...
Last time.
Yes, last time we went around the world over to Pakistan. Kamala was invited by her grandmother, the same one that gave her the bangle, who decided it was now time to finally tell her what the whole significance behind it actually was. Except she doesn't quite tell her. Kamala has to find out through other means by way of a secret society named Cobra Kai. The Red Dagger. Sorry, I just keep having that association. But we do actually learn some significant details, specifically where the Jinn are actually from and why it's so dangerous for them to return, given that they are not quite from another world, but from a different dimension. A dimension that actually simultaneously exists in the same plane as our world.
From another dimension. Voyeuristic intention.
Exactly. Which means that if they do decide to go back, all the energy from that world will leak into this world, thus obliterating it, and the other world will take over pretty much the entire space. So yeah, bad stuff all around. Also, apparently the Jinn can teleport now because they somehow were able to escape the custody of damage control and teleport all the way into Pakistan, exactly where Kamala was, within the so-called secret base of that secret society. Let's just roll with it. Anyway, chase, fight, sort of. And last we left off, Kamala has gone back in time. Because apparently her bangle can do that. We've already seen that it can sort of give her glimpses into the past, or at least see points of where I guess her grandmother had been alive and fought and everything. So yeah, we're going to start things off in the past, particularly during partition, which anybody who's ever studied history knows that was probably one of the worst points of history within the 20th century. So let's go back with the episode.
Time and again.
And again, and again, and again. With that being said, let's get started and see what happens when Kamala finally learns the truth about the past.
Gotta get back to the past. Kamala Khan.
And let's see what happens when we witness all of this horrible destruction all over again. Play. Interesting, it's in
sepia tone.
Yeah. Bits. Nice. As usual, the British ruin everything.
Touch me and I'll break your leg.
What? You mean this one? It's okay. I don't use it much anyway. There's food, a place to rest, if you need to use my cottage.
I guess she stole the bangle and then just hightailed it out of there.
Kids, this is the story of how I met your great-great-grandmother. No, excuse me, just great-grandmother.
Now I know you're just putting on a show. No human alive can resist the smell of fresh fried butter. Do you have a name? Or shall I just call you Humbly? Perhaps you can tell me where you're from then.
That's a loaded question.
You're clearly not British. And you're not from this village. So what brings you to Pinehurst?
I like your roses.
Ah, she speaks. You're very kind. You know when I saw you out there, it reminded me of my favorite poem. When the soul lies down in the night grass, the world is too full to talk about. But you seek the seeking you.
Isha. My name is Isha.
Bit of poetry and she's gone.
She who lives. A beautiful man.
Isn't this how Aquaman started?
I know that you're pretty attached to that rotting tree branch, but I thought it might be nice to have a walking stick that actually helped you walk.
Oh, cute.
She looks at you as though you're magic. I can't say that I blame her.
Oh boy.
Najma, so this is where you've been hiding. But now that I've found you, we can put our plan into action.
Oh boy.
Don't you want to go home, Isha?
Of course.
You have until sundown tomorrow, and then we will all go home together.
What the hell? I mean, she just has no chill.
To be fair, look where they are at this point in
I
time.
know, but come on.
I know, Vita. New adventures can be scary. That's why I need you to hold on to this for me. This will keep you safe wherever you go. Okay?
Isn't that technically making her a target, though? And obviously they don't find it, but still, that was a bit risky. Like Goku putting the Dragon Ball on Aqua's head.
Tell me the truth.
I need to show you something. You always said I was magic.
Technically true.
Why are you telling me now?
Good question.
You knew I was running from something, but you never pushed.
Because I didn't care. You chose us. And that's what mattered.
And I'm still choosing you. And whatever happens, make sure Sana gets on that train tonight. Promise me, Hassan.
Nothing is going to happen.
Famous last words.
You have to take her with you. You have to trust me with this, Hassan.
Isha.
For her sake.
Isha.
You brought her out. Let's go.
I'm assuming they tracked her. Yep, there she is.
You turned your back on us, your family, your people. Where is the bangle, Isha?
Najma.
I'm sorry if it's the last thing I do.
Thank God people are so preoccupied nobody notices this. So there's way too much space in that train. Freaking kid. Hang on, did she actually go back in time?
She summoned back in time.
So she saved her great grandmother.
Bangle worked. Sana, it brought you back to me. Sana, we don't have much time. Get Sana on the train and protect that bangle. You have everything that you need. No, you have to save her. You're supposed to save Nani like the story. It's okay.
Nope.
She's okay. Because you are here.
She came like Back to the Future where she's like responsible for her own existence now.
Certainly not a paradox because history says this is what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully Doctor Who would say otherwise.
No.
Coming into the jump, okay? Ready and go.
Again, thank God people are so preoccupied they don't notice this. So those are the stars. Hurry up, get on that train. That was an interesting trip.
So you want to tell Kamala what you did? Because ain't no fucking way she's helping you get home.
Uh-oh. Well, crap.
Pick it up, Kamala, pick up the phone. You know, Magnum got lost once. I had him microchipped. Me, Magnum is a dog. Kamala is a girl. But trust me, if it was legal, I would do it. But don't worry so much. She'll be okay.
But if Kamala's phone is on your family plan, you can just log into your account and use the Find My Phone feature to see where she is.
Like spyware for parents?
Kind of.
Then why am I only just hearing about this?
So you don't use it unless it's a last resort. Isn't this a bad thing? Oh shit. Oof. Yeah, that's not good. You ripped a hole through fabric and time and now everyone's gonna die.
It's not gonna work. It's just gonna destroy everything. Please help me close it.
I can make it.
You have Kamala.
You're delusional.
All Isha ever wanted was to be with her family, and you took that from her. Please don't take that from Kamala too.
You're right. There is only one way. I can close it.
Well, that was quick.
What are you doing?
Well, this is awkward.
Are you okay?
Okay.
Yeah, I can't believe what is happening. Are you... Who is that?
Uh-oh.
Assalamu alaikum, auntie.
Uh-huh.
Nani?
Walaikum salam, beta.
I'm just gonna leave now.
You are that light girl?
Yeah,
Our family is magical.
this is for you. It was all true, Nani.
Honey? Abu? This photograph and those lights? How did that happen?
About that.
I don't know. Shall we go home now?
I actually have one more thing I need to do, but I'll be right back. Really quick. Just hold on.
I have to go tell the others what happened.
There are others.
Give you some time with your family.
Are you gonna be okay?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll be fine. She'd be really proud of you.
Yeah, Master's dead, the place got trashed.
Thank you, by the way.
So, yeah, I'll be cool.
You know, if you ever need anything, I'm just take all away. Although the U.S. government may or may not have several warrants out for my arrest.
Well, I don't know how much more trouble I can get into after all this.
Just in case.
What is this? It's Kamala's. It broke.
Oh, her name.
That's your mother at your age.
No.
Oh.
No.
She was quite the rebel, you know. She ran away when she was 17 to follow that star, Bruce.
No, she was born to run, I see.
My daughter's head, okay? It was Bon Jovi.
So basically, she followed two musicians to Jersey.
Yep.
Well, because you have never asked. Perhaps this was the journey I was intended to take. One that would bring me back to you.
I'm glad all that got resolved rather quickly.
We still got some issues stateside, though.
Yeah.
Brian,
Shit.
what are you doing here? I don't know where else to go.
This isn't good.
Log on. It's one of my favorite elements.
Sure.
So you're a car guy as well?
Hey.
Yeah, it's a wonder we've never hung out before. Can we just restart? Because this is pretty weird. It's nice to meet you. I'm Kamran.
It's...
Bruno. Oh my god, I genuinely thought your name was Brian this whole time. Oh,
Sure you did.
Noticed the first 4 times that we should be totally fine here for tonight, and then we'll figure out where to go tomorrow.
No, I need to stay here so my mom knows where to find me.
Dude, she left you behind to fend for yourself. What makes you think she's coming back?
She won't just leave me behind like some kind of orphan. You don't get it.
About that.
Well, I don't know if you're hungry, but my nonna's out of town. She left some lasagna.
Oh, shit. Oh shit, no.
We have to go.
Well, there goes the business. And that just ended abruptly.
Like I said, we still got issues stateside.
Yeah. I'm starting to get the feeling whoever wrote this really just wanted to tell a story about a Pakistani family living in America who find out about their roots, and then the whole superhero thing was a second thought.
Kind of, yeah.
Because that's what it feels like, because the whole stuff with Isha's backstory and then leading up to Partition was pretty good, but then the whole superhero stuff just happened so quick and so abruptly, and we still don't really have much explanation as to what the hell exactly happened or what the hell's going on right now.
Oh boy.
Okay, I feel bad in saying this, but I don't think this series was well written. At least not in the way that it should be. Again, I like the stuff with the characters' interactions. I like them diving into their emotional connections. And I even like all of the history we get on Pakistan, on Muslim religion, and Aisha's backstory and everything. Like, all that's really strong. But the superhero stuff is, like, the weakest in this.
Mm-hmm. I could get if we really already established Kamala, Ms. Marvel, and then this was what we do for the second season. That's what this feels more like. It feels like we just kind of rushed into this. Again, I don't really have a problem with, but like you said, it feels like all the superhero stuff really takes a back seat to the origin of her grandmother and all this.
Like, granted, I felt this way about Moon Knight as well, but at least with Moon Knight, he was already a pre-established character. We knew he had, like, a fighting background. Obviously, we don't know how long he's been Moon Knight, but it's long enough where he has, like, a considerable body count to his name. So it's not as big a deal when we don't see him as much, because the emotional stuff, the whole tackling of mental issues made up for it.
Not to mention it felt like they were doing a whole Memento sort of thing, which worked for the style of show that it was. Ms. Marvel, it feels like they only wanted to tell this in 3 episodes and then do another thing entirely with the next set.
Yeah, because it's so disjointed. Like, this is supposed to be a brand new superhero, at least to us, the casual superhero movie watching public. Like, a new character to get behind. Someone who was inspired by previous heroes, who just happens to find a means that gives her powers so she can fight for the world just like her heroes do.
And absolutely, we want to be ingrained in her culture.
Yeah.
We want, to establish that.
Right.
The problem is they tended to favor one over the other.
Because the thing is, they're trying to make her powers tie in too much with her heritage, with her culture and everything, which isn't a bad thing, but that wasn't the case in the comics, right?
I don't, like I said, I don't really have much experience. All
Right.
I've seen is like snippets of things, so I can't really draw any reference.
Right, but that's the problem too, is that they're essentially starting over from scratch with her powers, and that means they have to give the whole background to her powers in order to, I guess, fully explain how they work, but that just takes up too much time, and again, we hardly see her practice with her powers. Like, yeah, we see her use it a little bit in this, but it's more just she's learning to use it in the heat of the moment. She's not actively learning how it works. I mean, the whole thing with the stars was a pure accident in that regard. Like, she knew that certain things had to happen, but what did happen wasn't something she intended.
I will at least say the one thing that is saving this is that Marvel does a good job with writing these characters and making us like them.
Mm-hmm.
That is what is wholly saving this. But the villains.
Oh my god. I get it, the Jinn are desperate to get home by any means necessary, but that's all there is to them. We don't really know them as characters. We can't really enjoy them. We just know that they're basically as like an antagonist. They're just there as like a roadblock to whatever the other characters need to do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like there's anything special about them. I thought they would have had powers similar to Kamala or had their own brand of powers, given they're from another dimension, you know, that's made of crystal. But we see nothing up until this point where, like, what's her name dies, and then transfers her essence to her son. I don't get it.
Her whole, like, deal. It's like, I get she's waited decades and decades, basically about a century of waiting, so I get that her patience kind of run out, but her whole thing is just to flip on a dime after she's already established, oh, I knew Isha. No, I'm not going to wait any longer while you are at a wedding. I'm going to go and make you get us home quick. It's like, oh, now we have the veil open. I can finally go home. But what about Cameron? Oh yeah, I left him to die. Well, now I'm going to save him for some reason.
Well, save him. Like, honestly, part of me thought that she corrupted him or something, and that he went to Bruno's place kind of to hold him hostage till Kamala got back. That's what I assume was happening, up until we see that Damage Control had tracked them down to their place. I still have no clue, really, what the hell's going on, or what's happening, or how this is even coming about, because again, we know nothing about the Jinn. We have that one explanation when they first met, and that was it, plus whatever the Red Daggers mentioned. I don't like that, you have a villain being a villain, not because they're a character in their own right.
You spent a little too much time on the things you shouldn't have, instead of developing these villains, instead of Ms. Marvel. Yes, we needed this backstory about Isha, but we come in where we left off in the last episode about 3/4 of the way in.
They kind of explain why she didn't wait for Kamala to finish the wedding, because she actually gave Isha some time to find the bangle and meet up with them. And what does Isha do? She runs. I mean, granted, they were going to do that anyway because, partition, but still.
Even then, she barely gives her any time. It's like, you have a day.
I mean, even so, that was enough for her to at least get away, have her family escape, and she still didn't get the bangle, so I guess at this point it's like, if she doesn't get it right away, she's just gonna strike. But yeah, the fact that she didn't even really bother to look, because it's like, she somehow tracked Isha down to where she was living, so you'd think she would see that she has a family.
Doesn't care.
But doesn't even, she mentioned that they didn't even know she had a family. And then she tracks her down, to the train, stabs her with everyone else around. But then again, it was partition. Everybody was doing that, so.
Everybody was trying to get out, do what they needed to do.
Yeah.
So.
And again, because of partition, people were actively killing each other. And it was all a matter of just getting away far enough so you weren't killed next. But, like, she doesn't even bother to look around to see if maybe she hid the bangle anywhere or she gave it to anyone. Kamala did that whole thing right in front of people. And again, I know they were all doing their own thing, so nobody stopped to notice this weird magical thing going on. But still, you think they would have noticed. Because if they can track her from frickin' Washington, D.C., all the way to Pakistan into that secret society, I don't understand how they couldn't have tracked her daughter, who was holding the bangle in the middle of a crowd when she was just like 10 feet away.
Yeah.
That made no sense whatsoever. And then again, she didn't find her family at all. Lost complete track of the bangle for decades. Like you said, nearly 100 years before Kamala got a hold of it. And I mean, thank God that she was being filmed or anything, because they probably wouldn't have noticed. I hate to say it, the writing in this is just bad. Like, when it's not focusing on familiar bonds and character growth and stuff, it is just bad. And I don't want to say that about the series. I want to give it a chance.
I want to like this series.
And as I said, it's nothing to do with Kamala at all. I like her. I like the actress. I like her as a character. I just wish they saved this stuff for another season or wrote it better so that it made more sense. Because as it is now, it's just disappointing.
Cleaned up the padding a bit. It's like, yeah, we want to see Paxton a little bit, but you spent a little too much time on the sightseeing.
Yeah, not to mention that, her mother was so staunchly against all this stuff. Because, her mother was obsessed about magic and the powers that her mother supposedly had. But then, she finds out the truth about Kamala and stuff, and she just readily accepts it. She's like, oh, Mommy, I should have known all along. It's like, she's been telling you this. In fact, she had the bangle, and part of me was thinking, she should have been able to use it, right? I mean, they had that power, unless the bangle's very specific on who actually can use it.
Well, obviously, if only those that have the Jinn power in them can really use it.
I guess I'm gonna skip a few generations or something. Again, there's questions that are not answered, though. It's like, yes, Kamala's part Jinn. That means so was her mother, so was her grandmother, but they don't have powers. It's just her for whatever reason. Another question, too, is that her great-grandmother was considered like a scandal to their family. I kept trying to think to myself, all right, how could that have been? They were saying, oh, she abandoned her family, or she had an affair, or she killed someone, or whatever. But what really happened? She got separated from her family and died.
Well, I think it was more than that, because remember, they kind of turn on her great-grandfather as well and everything because they're Muslim.
Well, not the people that knew them particularly. Everybody who fled to Pakistan usually was of Muslim heritage. They would have been among other Muslim people, but they specifically shunned them.
Yeah. Because
of her great-grandmother. And I'm like, why? She disappeared. So did a lot of people during partisan. They even said it themselves. So what was the scandal here? Mostly it would seem to come from the grandmother, believing in magic and talking about stars and stuff. And it's like, how is that scandalous exactly? How does that pertain to her mother? I don't understand any of this. None of this makes sense.
Like I said, I think part of it was a lot of religious bigotry.
I guess. I know particularly with Puritans and stuff, any sort of weird phenomenon was considered witchcraft or whatever. But it's not like they ever saw it. It's not like the grandmother ever showed off any powers of her own that made her come off as weird. She just talked about seeing this as a kid, and anybody would think, oh, it's just a kid's imagination or whatever, but somehow her talking about it was enough just to ostracize her from everyone. We don't even get a clear picture of what it is exactly. Even the Illuminatis didn't get the full picture of that. It felt like they were building up this big scandal, this big mystery, something that you can easily misunderstand unless you knew the full context. But what context? There's no context. It's just the great-grandmother went missing. Again, something that was really common during partition. So many people just disappeared, and mostly because they were killed. You'd think that would be the first thing everyone would think, not, oh, she abandoned her family, oh, she ran off to be with someone else or whatever. Unless the father thought that, but I don't know. This whole thing just rubbed me the wrong way. Again, I blame the writing on this regard. This could have been done so much better. Well, we have one more episode, so I guess we're going to see two things. What Kamran's deal is now, because I guess he inherited his mother's power or power from said universe, so he must have Kamala's power now. In which case, it's on the fence as to what he's going to do with it exactly, because we know that damage control's on his ass now, which they should, given what those people have done. But I guess he's now the ultimate villain? Because, what's-her-name's dead. The others are dead or scattered or whatever, because weren't there more of them?
Spirit form or something.
Yeah. So that only really leaves him as the big baddie. And if you're going to have someone with powers like her going up a villain, it makes more sense to have her go up against someone with equal said powers. So I guess that's what's going to happen. I don't know. I don't even know what to expect from this show anymore. I keep thinking they're leading up to something, and then it's just a letdown. So join us next time for the finale of Miss Marvel to see where this all ultimately leads to. So until then, I'm Kat MacBerrie.
I'm Doug MacBerrie.
And time travel's a bitch.
Time travel is frustrating.
Unless you were meant to save someone, in which case it's very, very useful. Expecto Patronum!